more shocked than anything, you know what I'm saying?
Welcome to The Undercurrent, your source for grassroots news. I'm Lauren Windsor. The acquittal of George Zimmerman in the killing of Florida teen Trayvon Martin sparked protests across the country. The day after the verdict, nearly 200 Angelenos shut down the 10 freeway for about 30 minutes. That footage was provided by live streamer Patty Beers. Joining me in the studio is freelance screenwriter and journalist Ruth Fowler, who was there that day. Welcome, Ruth.
Hi, Lauren.
So, can you tell me what motivated you to join these protests?
Yeah, basically, I'm from England, and we obviously don't have the same kind of racism problem that you guys have in America. We don't have the history of slavery. And when I came to the States, I was obviously incredibly shocked to discover that there's a completely different system going on here, that policing is racist and brutal, that people of colour are not treated the same as white people, basically. So the Trayvon Martin protests, I went out to obviously object against George Zimmerman's verdict, but I also went out because it's a racist system and it needs to be brought down.
Can you describe the scene, the mood of the crowd? Was this a peaceful protest?
I would describe it as a very peaceful protest. It was, I've done many protests in my time, and this was the first event which really felt like a community effort. There were old people, there were young people, there were babies, there were families. It was very mixed, like a lot of events and marches in LA are predominantly white. This was very, very mixed, probably 90% people of color and local people, 10% activists from all across LA. And it really was a very happy, vibrant crowd who wanted justice, but there was no violence, there was no bad feeling, there was no aggression. It was just a good feeling.
Did you personally witness any police brutality?
Yeah, I witnessed quite a lot, actually. The march was very peaceful. As I joined the march at Lamart Park, I walked down Crenshaw. We stopped at the 10. About 300 people shut down the 10. The police moved in and confronted protesters. I saw them at one point target a young black guy from the crowd and pull him out and start beating him, and the crowd pulled him back. And I think he got arrested. I'm not sure. And then later on, as people left the 10 freeway and joined the main march back on Crenshaw, we were stopped by police. We call it kettling, where the police just stop your way and say you can't move forward. Now, people were on the sidewalk at this point, so everybody moved off into separate little streets, like dispersing slightly. And some of the crowd, I was included, went into a Vons parking lot, which was a private property. The police came around the corner, stopped us, and the crowd were very peaceful but very firm, saying, "We want to move forward, let us go forward, we need to join our friends." And that's when the police got out rubber bullets and started shooting people. Now, I was behind my friend. I'm 18 weeks pregnant, and I was really lucky in that I was behind a friend of mine who actually got shot in the face, and her boyfriend got shot all on the arms by rubber bullets. They were interviewed by news cameras. They're obviously not very happy about the incident.
Was she okay? I mean, she got shot in the face with rubber bullets?
Yeah, she's fine. She had, they were very painful, big red splotches all over her, big bruises. She was in a lot of pain. I think she got some medication for it, but she was out the next day, even more angry, basically, because it proved her point.
Was the shutdown of the freeway something that was planned, or was it spontaneous?
It was completely spontaneous and completely organic. People just marched along Crenshaw, they got to the freeway, and they wanted attention. They wanted to shut down the city to show what they wanted, to show their displeasure, their anger, and that they'd had enough, simply.
On Friday, July 19th, workers at a New York City McDonald's walked off the job after several of their co-workers fell physically ill from heat exhaustion. One of them had to be carried away in an ambulance. The workers rallied outside in protest to request that management make the necessary repairs. Employee Hamne Izquierdo said, In the middle of a heat wave like this, to be expected to stand in a hot kitchen with no air conditioning is inhumane and unsafe. We are human beings. We've told McDonald's before that the air conditioning doesn't work and that we can't take the heat, but they don't listen to us. We can't take it anymore. No one should have to work like this. Detroit became the largest city in American history to declare bankruptcy last week. The steep decline in the manufacturing sector as automotive companies moved operations overseas led to corresponding losses in population and tax revenues. In 1950, the population was 1.86 million. Today, it hovers at around 700,000. Crime has soared, abandoned buildings have proliferated, and city services have taken steep cuts in funding. Here is Michigan Governor Rick Snyder speaking on legacy costs.
Today I authorized the emergency manager for the city of Detroit to seek federal bankruptcy protection. This was a difficult and painful decision, but I believe there were no other viable options. Why did I do this? What's the rationale and what's the impact for both the city of Detroit and the state of Michigan? Well, let me start with the fact that this is a situation that's been 60 years in the making in terms of the decline of Detroit. From a financial point of view, let me be blunt. Detroit's broke. It's been spending 38 cents on the dollar towards legacy costs. That number was projected to grow to 65 cents on the dollar. That's not a sustainable situation.
More shocked than anything, you know what I'm saying?
Bottom line, Detroit is the wet dream of Wall Street. While pundits and politicos alike wring their hands over the fate of the Motor City, the vultures are salivating at public assets that will ultimately go for pennies on the dollar. Meanwhile, public sector workers fear for their pensions. Ironically, on the very same day as the bankruptcy announcement, the Dow Jones Industrial Average hit a new record high. The demise of Detroit is a canary in our economic coal mine, the true legacy cost of our greed is good ethos. I'm Lauren Windsor. Thanks for watching. Get pulled in to the undercurrents.
Inside the book of Revelations, demons came from heavenly places, and it makes me wonder if I'm under some sort of spiritual matrix with the truth put over my eyes, with the evil forces that compromise my state of mind. Have I been hypnotized to believe in lies?